So here she is, 1987 Honda CG, and I've kind of converted it into a bit of a scrambler. I've upgraded the tyres, so we've got some fat, I think they're called Kenda K270, I think, and yeah, they're pretty cool. And yeah, installed this makeshift snap-on, snap-off mudguard, so I can change it if I'm going through muddy areas or through rivers and whatnot. I've got the Renthal handlebars, so a little bit wider, a little bit more steady. So today I'm going to take this green laning down some of England's nicest green lanes. So yeah, join me on this epic adventure. Welcome to the English countryside, and more specifically, Arborfield, a quiet little slice of Berkshire that's perfect for a bit of green laning. Today I'm taking my 1987 Honda CG125 out for a proper stretch, and I'll be showing you some of the changes I've made to it, taking you along the byways we're exploring and sharing a bit of history, both of the land and the machine that's carrying me through it. This here is my 1987 Honda CG125. A humble little workhorse with a reputation of bulletproof reliability. Originally designed with the developing worlds in mind, Honda built the CG to survive rough roads, poor maintenance and long distance on minimal fuel. Mine was made in Brazil, like many CGs in the 80s, a fact which adds to its rugged character. I've made a few tweaks to help it handle the trails a bit better. First up, the tyres. I've fitted a set of Kenda K270 dual sports. They're knobbly enough to bite into the mud, but not so aggressive that they buzz too much on the tarmac. Then there's the handlebars. I swapped the originals for Renthals. They're lighter, stronger, and give a better control when you're on the pegs. And finally, my personal favourite, the mudguard. That's a bit of DIY ingenuity right there. It's made from an SVP pipe, cut and shaped with a bit of Velcro holding it in place. It's not fancy, but it does the job. Now let's talk about where we're riding. These trails are part of England's public rights of way, and this type in particular is called a byway, open to all traffic, or boat for short. That means they're legal for use for walkers, cyclists, horse riders and vehicles like this bike. All as long as it's taxed, MOT'd and insured, you're free to go wherever you want. Green laning, as it's called, is all about exploring the old droves, roads and farm tracks, and forgotten little country paths that once connected villages and hamlets before the tarmac took over. There's something peaceful about it, riding where carts once rolled, where livestock were driven, and where people would travel to market on foot and horseback. These byways are protected by law, but they need care. Ride respectfully, don't churn up the mud too much, and always slow down before walkers and horses. Arborfield itself has a fascinating past. The name likely comes from Eggbirdersfield, evolving over time into Arborfield. This area has been inhabited since at least the Saxon times, and remnants of medieval history still pop up all over the landscape. In the 19th and early 20th century, Arborfield was largely agricultural, a patchwork of farms, orchards and meadows. But during the 20th century, especially with the establishment of Arborfield's garrison, the area took a military role. The garrison trained thousands of British troops, personnel, before closing in 2015, and much of it is now being redeveloped into housing, sadly. Still, the countryside remains, the hedgerows, ancient oaks and winding lanes, many unchanged for centuries, continue to carry the spirit of England. When you're out on the trails like this, it's easy to imagine what it would have looked like 200 years ago. It hasn't changed much at all. As I make my way down this stretch, I'm reminded just how forgiving the CG is. It's not powerful, just a 124cc engine, but it's smooth, light and predictable. Perfect for this kind of terrain. The Kenda tyres are gripping well today. even in this damp patch. You do get a bit of road hum when you're back on the asphalt, but it's worth it for this kind of control in the damp patches. These Renthal bars make a big difference here. You get better leverage when you counter steer or pull yourself upright after a wobble. I've kept the gearing standard. It tops out around 65 miles per hour, downhill that is. But on these lanes, you really need more than second gear. Riding green lanes on a small, simple machine like this, it connects you to the road and with the land. You're not rushing, you're noticing things. Old gate posts, flint walls, the smell of damp leaves, and the distant smell of wood smoke. There's something poetic about taking a 1980s commuter bike and turning it into a trail-capable explorer. It's not flashy, but it's real. Built by hand, tweaked for the job, and put to use in the countryside. It was never quite meant for it, and yet, somehow, it feels right at home. So, thank you for joining me on this ride around Arborfield. If you enjoy this trip, give a like, drop a comment, or maybe even subscribe. I'll be back soon with more countryside explorations, some DIY tinkering, and more tales of the trail. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. So these work really well. Bit muddy that side, but I can give them a rinse off because it's waterproof Velcro.